Round two of the NHL playoffs just took a wild turn. We just saw the craziest comeback and choke of these Stanley Cup playoffs. We got players calling each other dirty in the media, suspensions for illegal hits, crazy bounces, and two series reaching a climactic finish. The path to the cup is heating up, so let's break down everything that happened in part 4 of our round 2 recap. So we start off with the Wild versus Avs game 4. The game 3 formula for the Wild to have success went perfect. They stayed even 5-on-5. They won the special teams battle and had the wall of St. Paul bail them out a few times. Now the Avs, they're also switching their wood and net as well. Mackenzie Blackwood gets the start instead of Scotty Wedgwood. That's a little bit of a surprise, but either way, that is the call. So now let's jump in halfway through the first where we get some controversy. Josh Manson and Michael McCarron get tied up along the wall here. Keep an eye on Manson. He just got decked by McCarron, so he's on the bottom and he's just going to do a subtle look around, look for some refs, and then watch the butt end. Boom! Right to the temple. Just a little bunny rabbit jab to the face. You can't do that, especially with the butt end. But the rule 58.5 indicates a double minor is issued for an attempt to butt end someone. But if you do actually butt end someone, it should be a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. So they call Gary and review it, and they deem it to be a double minor. So the league seems to think that it was attempted butt end, which means that they maybe thought he was potentially auditioning for a Scorsese movie with the acting, flopping his head back. Either way, though, it looked like he got him, but the Wild get the power play and they make it count. This is as fundamental as it gets right here, and why having a cannon from the point is crucial on the peeper. It goes to Brock Faber. Brocky Balboa says he's going to hammer one and blast it with traffic. It goes off of Daniel Yurov and in. The Wild score first. Now, at the intermission, we got some beef as well as Mikey McCarron got interviewed by PK Subban, and this is what he had to say about the whole butt end situation.
I mean, you played against Josh. He's a dirty player. He's always been. Surprised he got away with only a 4-minute. I'm happy he's still in the game.
All right, so now we're heating up. But the biggest factor early on, though, was the wall of St. Paul. He kept many in this game with multiple grade A caliber saves, one after another throughout the remainder of the first and into the second. The shots were 17-4 at one point. They're getting shelled, but the Avs just kept shutting down Minnesota's transition game over and over. Here's an example. The Wild love to use the stretch pass. They attempt it more than anyone, especially with Quinn Hughes on the ice. And so as Minnesota goes to turn up on this play, look at the structure of the Avs in the chaos. It's a tight 1-2-2 formation. The F1 immediately pressures, and the F2 and F3 are already taken away that immediate second layer in the middle of the ice. And this part of the D layer is the most important for the Avs. This is Florida-esque with how well the Avs D gap up here. Burns just stays super tight to the stretch pass option to jam up that play at the red line, and in one motion he springs an odd man rush for the Avs. This should go in, but Wallstad is dialed. The Avs, though, they get a power play of their own, and it's a quick strike. Natchez just shoves Faber off the puck like he's a piece of lint and then sends it out to Kadri, and just like that, it is tied. If you're a former Leaf right now, you're automatically on fire in these playoffs. The Avs do get a little bit of an injury scare, though, as McKinnon takes a puck right to the schnoz. He's bleeding everywhere, but he's the dog, so he takes a couple minutes max in the dressing room and then gets right back out there. This was somehow all tied at once heading into the third, thanks again to Wallstat. But then after some sustained pressure from the Avs, Nick Waugh, another former Leaf, sends it to Ross Colton backdoor, and the Avs finally break through the wall to make it 2-1. But the Wild have a response, and of course, it is Quinn Hughes. It is the little decisions before even arriving onto the puck that separate. Now, some defenders facing pressure here with the wingers' toe caps pointing up towards the ice are going to just take this puck and funnel it down low to support. But Hughes wants to do things on his terms, so he takes this puck and starts pumping towards the blue line, arcing in, and his eyes are up scanning the entire time, and then he just sends a perfect feed to Sturm to tie this all up. Minnesota simply doing everything he can to keep the Wild in this game, yet the Avs, they just keep coming at you in waves. This starts with Parker Kelly as the F1. He uses his speed and physicality to put immediate pressure on the Wild D. In the meantime, Jack Drury is going to sprint to the wall to create the turnover on the strong side. It's broken up, but then Kiviranta is the next wave on the forecheck, and again, there's just no room for the Wild's D to even breathe here without bumping it right to the trap that the Avs have set. It's picked off again by Drury. He then sends it to Parker Kelly. Bang. Just like that, the Avs take back the league, and damn it, the Wall of St. Paul can't do it all. The Wild offense cannot tie it up. A few empty netters are added, and the Avalanche take a 3-1 series lead. Now, a few things after. Josh Manson clapped back post-game saying he's been playing for 13 years and he hasn't been suspended yet, so he's clean as a whistle. Second is Quinn Hughes' usage. He played a ridiculous 34 minutes in Game 4, and yes, he's the best option for Minnesota. They were down a goal. They need him the most when that's the case, but at some point, with the physicality and overall pace of playoff hockey, it is asking a lot of Quinn Hughes. Now, the last time the Avs did blow a 3-1 series lead against the team, it was back in 2003 versus the Wild, so maybe history repeats itself. But the relentlessness and overall speed of the Avs just seem like it's too much for Minnesota right now, and they got to beat a team that has only lost once in these playoffs 3 times in a row. So we go to Game 4 at the Bell Center between the Montreal Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres are making a change in net. The Lion King is out, and in comes UPL same-day delivery Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Now the Sabres, everyone's got the book on them by now. They have the most active D in the league, and it's the brunt of their offense that comes from their defense. And early, their game plan is executed to a T. Samuelsson is going to join the rush here and activate. It's a bit of a broken play, but if Samuelsson doesn't jump, this backdoor feed is not available. That's a goal. 1-0 Buffalo again as they're coming out hot. They're buzzing around the net, and look at this glove save from Dobish on the line. That is glovely. We go to a commercial break and come back, and it looks like the Stripes have called Gary. What the hell is going on here? I thought this was a save, but hold on. They review it because this puck, although stopped, looks like it's completely in, and you can see it through the mesh of Dobish's glove. So this takes around 8 minutes, and then Gary finally says, you know what? This is a goal, guys. Let's move on. Drop the puck. But wait, Martin St. Louis says, don't hang up on Gary just yet. Whoa. Goalie interference. What are we talking about here? Both Helenius and Samuelsson go into Dobish, so they challenge for that, and after another 5 minutes, they reverse the goal after determining there was goaltender interference. Holy boys, figure it out. The phone bill is going to be killer at the end of the month. Either way, it stays 1-0 Buffalo, which gives Montreal life. Here comes the depth again. Newhook as the F3 on the forecheck breaks this all up and sends it over to Jake Evans, who's all alone in front. Why is he all alone? Because we got Samuelsson over here horned up to join the rush again. Sabres are going to live by the sword and die by the sword. So home alone, Kevin McAllister is Evans. He unfortunately skies it over the net for the field goal. It's good, but that's okay because he centers it out in front. And who's the guy that finishes it? It's the guy who starts it, Alex Newhook. What's old is new. He's Sidney Crosby right now. 6 goals in these playoffs, all even strength, and he ties the game at 1. Discipline was an issue for Buffalo in this one. Thompson takes a bad penalty late, and the Habs get a last-minute power play in the first. Cole Caulfield, the 50-goal man, is on the goal line, and this is what snipers and elite scorers do. They create openings with just their presence. We've seen Caulfield from this angle go top bunk plenty of times, and UPL knows this too. So he slides aggressively to his post to take away that short side high cheese, but Caulfield just takes that extra beat to step in, and because UPL slid so hard to overcompensate, his momentum causes him to slightly lose his balance, and now his left leg lifts up. He can't get his paddle down, and Caulfield reminds UPL to close his damn legs, and just like that, Montreal has a 2-1 lead going into the second. Now, the Sabres power play, it's been awful. No sugarcoating it. We talked about how their entries have been a disaster. They get a chance on the power play here with a double minor. None of the set entries have been working, so Tage Thompson just says, it, I'm dumping it in. It hits the stanchion, bounces off of Dobish and into the net just like Thompson drew it up. He is today's luck boy, Illinois. Dobish can't believe it, and really anyone in the Bell Center can't believe it. What a terrible bounce for the Habs as Buffalo ties the game off of a fluky one. This one stayed all knotted up until 5 minutes into the third, where Buffalo is trying to score a real power play goal, and it's perfect execution. They get into this 2-3 spread with no one in the slot area. You see Benson and Matheson going at it around the net, but as soon as this goes to the flank, Benson kicks out while Matheson challenges, making this a mini 2v1. Benson, the most popular man in Buffalo, backhand Billy finish on his birthday. The Sabres have the lead, and they almost added to it as well, but look at this save from Dobish. 2-on-1. He flings the stick to get across and stop it with the pad. pure robbery. Montreal pushed, but ultimately they fall short, and the Sabres put up a gutsy effort on the road to tie the series. They do get lucky with the goal, but defensively, I thought they played fantastic. They blocked 27 shots in this game. They laid it on the line. They protected the house incredibly well, and because of that, this series goes back to Buffalo, all tied up. Then we go to Game 5 in Vegas. The Ducks took Game 4. No Mark Stone last game and no Mark Stone in this one. So Vegas is missing their captain. Early on, both teams looking to set the tone, and Brayden McNabb comes in looking for blood. He staples Paling to the boards. The hit and contact itself is relatively clean, but the timing is late with the puck being long gone. Paling's head hit back into the boards, and he's out. Scrambled eggs, doesn't know what century he's in, and he had to be helped off the ice. So the Stripes review it, and after a little chat, they give him a major game misconduct, which means the Ducks get a 5-minute power play. Best power play in these playoffs with an uninterrupted 5-minute peeper is no bueno for Vegas, and it went exactly how you think. Beckett Seneca picks up all the garbage on the rebound and makes this 1-0. The Ducks only get one on that 5-minute man advantage, which Vegas will happily take. Then right after, Marner gets a B-way. He's hooked and slashed on the way in. He's got a chance, but Dostal, quick little poke check, Pocahontas, means it's Vegas' turn to go on the power play. Ducks kill off most of it and are looking to clear as Kreider has a potential fast break, but Dorofeev with the one-handed yoink last second tells Kreider not to forget the puck, pal. He steps in and puts it where Mama stashes the peanut butter. 1-1 as this goes into the first, all tied up. Now, in the second, Vegas seemed extremely passive to me. The Ducks poured on the pressure, outshooting them 17-6 in the period, but no answer for Carter Hart. So on to the third. Sometimes the rope-a-dope does work. Vegas wins a face-off. They throw one on net, and it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle slapping in the rebound. This guy didn't score for 30 straight games until finally getting off the schneid last game. Now he's got goals in back-to-back. Don't let the Ninja Turtle get going. 2-1 Vegas. The Ducks are pressuring, but the Golden Knights, as we know, have one of the best defensive structures in the league. They protect the house incredibly well. And we've seen Anaheim and Utah, though, penetrate it by exploiting gaps low to high between the center and the wingers. But here, Anaheim is going to do it with the 3-high look and good spacing to spread out the ozone. On the initial play, Vegas's box is tight. They have a good lockdown of the house, but by moving the puck low to high, the Ducks start to slowly stretch out Vegas. Now seams are opening up. It's a bang-bang shrimp play right to Zellweger, and he rips it to tie the game late. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to overtime, but it doesn't take long either. This is a perfect example of how important the F3 is in the ozone with only just their positioning and presence. Here, it's going to be Barbashev with a 50-50 puck in the corner and two of his teammates in deep. He recognizes he's got to stay above the play while cutting off the support option on the wall. Sure enough, the Ducks fall into the trap instead of reversing it out of the pressure, and Barbashev, even though he doesn't get a piece, his positioning just forces everything to be rushed, and that is compounded with Eichel as the F2 back pressuring hard. The two at once creates a turnover. Eichel goes low pad, and who's on the doorstep? It is Dorofeev. EA Sports, it's in the name for the guy. That's his second of the night, and the game winner as Vegas takes it in OT to go up 3-2 in this series. That is a huge win, and they did it all without their captain, Mark Stone. Now they have an opportunity to close out the series on the road in Anaheim. Then finally, we go to Game 5 between the Avs and Wild. This is an elimination game for Minnesota. Avs took Game 4, and they're looking to close out the series, but the Wild, they come out desperate as they should. 34 seconds in, Minnesota is hemming in Colorado, and this is a textbook interchange here between Hughes and Johansson. Johansson shifts up high to cover for Hughes, who steps in to make a play on the net, and now with Boldy getting possession below the goal line, the Avs coverage is a bit out of sorts. They usually play man-on-man, but with Johansson sneaking down from the blue line, he's unmarked. Boldy pulls a little Houdini behind the back, sends it out to the slot, and just like that, the Wild have a 1-0 lead 34 seconds into the game. Then, a little over halfway through the first, let's dive into the gravity of the Karelian Air, shall we? This all starts in the D zone. The speed and tenacity of Colorado's forecheck is closing in, so it is imperative that Kaprizov bumps this by the F3 closing in. He does, and then right away he gets up ice to beat his man to make it a 3-on-2 for Minnesota. Now, when you're about to be the highest paid player in the league and you're the Carillionaire, you naturally draw defenses towards you. So both Avs D here gap up to close off Kaprizov as a pass option and even have the back checker there too. But that means they leave good old Nicholas Pickles Foligno driving the back door. He buries it, and just like that, it's 2-0. A few minutes later, the onslaught keeps going. Delayed penalty, the Wild throw one on net, and it's the guy cutting WWE promos in between intermissions. Mikey McCarron puts it in the net, 3-0. But hold on, time to call Gary yet again. This guy is sick of taking phone calls. However, this one is going to come back because it turns out he batted it into the net with his hand. So Colorado gets a break, but it doesn't matter because 3 minutes later, the Wild are going to take a shot from range, and Mackenzie Blackwood lets out a pizza of a rebound just right out into the slot. That allows Sturm to pick up his own rebound and send it over to Foligno, who double dips the chip. The Wild have come out and shocked the Avs with this start. That goal pretty much ended Blackwood's night, and so the Avs said, get the other Wood in there. They throw in Scotty Wedgwood to start the second. And then the Avs started to find their game. They're going right after Quinn Hughes, taking a piece of him any chance they get. And so the Avs say, let's go back to the fundamentals, win a battle down low, go low to high, get traffic in front, shoot for a tip. Brent Burns, the human Sasquatch, puts in a nice floater tipped in by Parker Kelly. That's one. Avs are starting to buzz, out shooting the Wild 9-3 in the second, despite still being down by 2. On top of this, it is clear that Cale Makar has been dealing with something during these playoffs, and this is no bueno. He bumps into Zuccarello, and right away, he feels something he doesn't like. He goes right down the tunnel. The Wild, though, they get a chance from Faber off the faceoff. They throw one on net, and ding, fries are done. It goes off the crossbar just inches from this one being closed out by Minnesota. However, shortly after, that sets up an ozone draw with 3 minutes left in the game for Colorado. They're down by 2, and it's the details. Following a D-zone face-off loss, standard protocol is traditionally man-on-man. Here, you start to see each Wild go to their assignments, but as this puck goes to the half wall, Hardman's going to get tripped up by Nichushkin, which leaves Wall all this space, and because of that, now Foligno has to vacate his man at the point to cover the slot area to make sure he doesn't just walk in, and that's how things snowball in hockey. That leaves Taves wide open at the point. He sifts one on net, and again, they leave a tip on the doorstep. Jack Drury makes this a 1-goal game. Now it's all hands on deck. Goalie pulled for the Avs. They're pressing. The puck goes to Nathan McKinnon in his office, and the very best shooters in the world have this innate understanding of goalies' tendencies and save selections based on where the puck is on the ice. And one that is commonly exploited by shooters is exposing that RVH high short side. We see it a ton throughout the season, and this reference is a great visual that shows when a goalie should and shouldn't go into the RVH, and when the puck is below the bottom of the circle, that is typically when goalies have the green light to do so, but that's not the case here with this McKinnon shot. But Max senses that Wallstead is going down early, and so it is whoever blinks first. The Nate Dogg tucks this in the only spot with their sunshine, and he ties this game up in the final minute. I am convinced the worst thing that happened for the rest of the league was McKinnon missing that empty netter at the Olympics, because it has unlocked the scariest version of the Nate Dogg we have seen yet. That is filthy, and this is going to OT after the Wild had a 3-0 lead. You can tell this wasn't going to last long. The Wild get a fast break, 2-on-1, Boldy and Kaprizov, the two guys you want. Kaprizov decides to pass, and it's broken up by Brett Kulak. Back the other way, they spring is Natchez. He goes around the mountain, and who's there to tickle the rafters and call game? You guessed it, it's Brett Kulak. Oilers and Penguins said, we don't want him. Avs say we'll take him, and he closes out the series with an unbelievable comeback to knock out the Minnesota Wild. What a game, and quite the choke from the Wild, who just take a page out of the Vikings handbook of colossal chokes. Minnesota swung for the fences this season, picking up Quinn Hughes. He was easily their best player in this series and in this playoff run, but the overall team speed of the Avalanche just ended up being too much, even for Quinnesota himself. The Avs, though, they move on to the conference final, and here's a ridiculous stat for you. Nathan McKinnon has scored a goal in 46.2% of his career playoff games. That is the third highest rate in NHL history, just always producing when it matters most. Biggest concern for the Avs moving forward, though, is the health of Cale Makar. He did return in this game, but this little break could be good to get him back to 100%, which is needed if they want to finish the job and win a Stanley Cup. So, what did you think about the games? Who surprised you? Who pissed you off? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, audio listeners out there, we're on Spotify now. You can check us out with our link in the description. And if you want breakdowns of every NHL playoff game, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a single thing.